As I ring this Tibetan bowl, and let's let it clear our minds as that tone just diminishes, and give us a chance to take a deep breath and allow ourselves into the spirit of this room.
This is an album made by Chopin.
Thank you, Michael. That was lovely. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unitarian Universalists of the Chester River. A special welcome to our friends, members and visitors, both here in the sanctuary and joining us on Zoom. Our mission, as we note on the cover of your order of service, is to inspire, inform, and support all who need spiritual and personal growth and a more equal and just community. I'm Jan Sprinkle, worship leader today, joining Reverend Sana Saeed for a discussion of challenges and rewards, especially rewards, of being a hyphenated Unitarian Universalist, a Muslim UU. We're all familiar with Christian UUs, Jewish UUs. In Annapolis, we had a Buddhist UU group. Those are all unique identities, and yet they're all included in the umbrella of Unitarian Universalist. So we're looking forward to Reverend Sana's perspective of being both. Reverend Saeed is on the congregational life staff at the UUA Central East Region and Masters of Divinity graduate of Harvard Divinity School, as well as a Muslim UU. She brings a very interesting perspective for us all to consider. Now for the morning announcements. Next Sunday, there will be a brief update on the Legacy Fund and Committee immediately after church. Any questions, go to MQ. And a reminder, another reminder, by the way, that the auction is coming on March 21st. That auction is very important for our funding. And the deadline for donations is this coming Friday, March 13th. And we have another announcement. Come ahead, Catherine.
Okay, this is the last week. Friday is the last day, hopefully. Unfortunately, we're 13,000 short of our goal. So we have some folks that have promised to send their pledges in this week. If you can't find your pledge form, we'll help you with that. We can hand you one, we can email you one, I'll drive it over to you. We just need the pledges by this week. If we took away what we wanted to do, which was the 3,500 for our capital reserve fund, we still would be short of our goal. We'd still be 10,000 short. So hopefully we can do what we need to do and not put so much pressure on the auction, have more fun at the auction. So if anyone has any questions, more detail about things, we'll be doing a little bit more of a push and calling people. If you haven't already gotten called, we'll be calling this week. But I thank you for the support of everybody, especially those of you that really upped your contributions this year. It's really made a difference.
And for those of you who have a little bit extra burning a hole in your pocket, I'm sure that we can make that work. Let's move on to the chalice lighting now. The words are unison in your program. And if Reverend Sana will come up and read those words, I will light the chalice.
Good morning. Please join me in saying the chalice lighting. May the light of this chalice give light and warmth to our community when we are joyful and when we despair. And may we feel the warmth spread from our circle to wider and wider circles until all know they belong to the one circle of life. Thank you.
Thank you. Come, come, whoever you are. It's hymn number 188 in the gray hymnal. Michael, is this the one we talked? Yes.
That's the round.
It's a round. We can do it in two parts, this side and that side. We will do it through once without the round, and just to give you a sense of what it's like. And let's see, I'm trying to see who I would like to get up here to help me lead the other side. Philip, could you come up? When we start the round, I'll start with this side. Okay, this is in unison. Good. Everyone. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. This side. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of sleeping, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of sleeping, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of sleeping, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. That was very good. If we always do better than you expected, that's not a bad thing. Let's move now to acknowledgments of the heart. This time in our service, for you to share joys, concerns, and oh, I skipped right past that part. Thank you, Judy.
Our opening reading is by Samantha Lynn Wilson, titled, "We Practice Being Called." A call to worship is secretly a call to focus our attention. Choosing to focus our attention is countercultural. Daily, we are called to worship at the altar of many devices, surveillance systems we let take the lead over our every waking moment. We are called by headlines set purely on activation and by tools that gamify our every human connection. We are not called, we are led. We are not led, we are entrapped. Instead, here in this space, we practice being called. We are called to bring our attention to the altar of unpredictable human relatedness. We are called by these ancestors, this wood, the room's particular light, this chalice's particular fire, and all the children. We are called to focus all our attention on a foolhardy and open-hearted commitment to share a future together we cannot cancel nor control. In the words of the poet farmer Wendell Berry, we are called here to do something today that does not compute. Spirit of life, call our collective attention to this precise moment, the threshold between then and now, the moment upon which we hang our honest promises like portraits, chiseled and framed by our own hands, imperfectly and together. Come, let us worship together.
For a meditation, number 95 in the gray hymnal, there is more love somewhere. And Michael, I think you said it was 3 verses. Okay, 4. I don't think it's terribly long, so we can get it. Yes, stand, please. And now, bearing in mind the guidance from Catherine, I will pass the baskets. And again, for the good works of this church, both in this space and in this community, please be generous.
This is one of the Moses Poeticals by Enrique Granados.
Thank you, Michael, and for your generosity, thank you very much. Reverend Sana?
Our reading for today is titled Tali by Reverend Abhijanamanji. I have stuck it out even through doubt and ambivalence because Unitarian Universalism is the way I want to live my life. My Unitarian Universalism lets me practice my Hindu faith. It helps me be a better Hindu, a better human being. I stay because Unitarian Universalism has a healing message for a broken world, yearning for reconciliation and wholeness. I stay because Unitarian Universalism is committed to working through race and class, ableism, sexism, and working on human rights, though we have much to learn and far to go. I stay to celebrate my multi-hyphenated identity, not so much as an American melting pot, but rather a South Indian thali, a selection of tasty dishes in different bowls presented on a single plate. Each dish tastes different and does not necessarily mix with the next, but they belong together on the same plate because they complement each other in making the meal a satisfying repast. I stay to find the strength to live honestly among the various nuances of my life, to take responsibility for the ambiguities of my pluralistic identity while seeking common ground with others. Friends, it is such a gift to be with you today. I'm here not only as your guest speaker, but also as your primary contact for the Central East region of the UUA. That means my role is to walk alongside you, supporting your leaders, helping you connect with UUA resources, and making sure you know that you are part of something bigger than just this one congregation, that you are a part of a network of congregations near and far in the Unitarian Universalist Association. That sense of being connected to something larger is what my talk is about today too. Because my own spiritual journey has been about living in between traditions and finding joy in belonging to more than one faith community. My pluralist journey expanded in 2009 when I was hired as the director of youth programs at the UU Church of Arlington in Virginia, even though I was and still identify as a Muslim. Except now I'm a UU Muslim. I dove headfirst into work and learning about Unitarian Universalism, mostly from teenagers. At the same time, I remember visiting my Pakistani Muslim parents in that first month I was hired and witnessing a complete parental freakout. Why? Because my younger brother had Googled UUs only to stumble upon websites declaring it was a cult. So unknown to me, he had convinced my parents I had joined a cult. To some degree, I don't even think my brother cared if I had joined a cult. He just enjoyed watching my parents freak out. It turned out to be a blessing in disguise because I was finally able to sit with them and talk to them about why I really liked working at a church. And many years later, seeing their surprise at the fact that I was serious about it. For the longest time, I always felt like I was towing the line between completely belonging in a UU community and being okay with wanting to stay Muslim too. You see, I like being Muslim. I like it a lot. I love the Pakistani Muslim culture I grew up in. The prayers my grandmothers taught me to recite when I felt scared. I love the traditions, the rituals, and the 10-day-long weddings too. But now I really love being a UU as well. There's deep joy in finding a spiritual home that doesn't erase who you are. Joy in realizing you don't have to leave one part of yourself at the door. It's the kind of joy that creeps in slowly, maybe, during a hymn you didn't know you'd love, or the way someone's child says, Assalamu alaikum, meaning peace be upon you, without hesitation, and then goes on to light a chalice. One of the more powerful experiences I had in my UU journey was around a time of great struggle for my family. My family of 5 migrated to the US in 1998, and then 10 years later of helping with our family business while going to school, as did my brothers, we found out only 4 of us were given our citizenship. My middle brother was all of a sudden undocumented, given around 60 days to move out of the country. But he stayed in the US to finish his undergrad degree, where he was holding down a 4.0 GPA. A few months later, he was pulled over while driving, and he was arrested for being undocumented. It's a familiar story we're seeing over and over again today in the news. After being held in a local prison in Virginia, he was transferred to a detention center in Youngstown, Ohio, many, many miles away from us. My family lived in fear for those 2 weeks because we weren't able to communicate with him. We weren't told what happened to him. We began to plan regular road trips to Youngstown, and usually I disliked family road trips because my family is full of opinionated, strong, stubborn, and politically inclined people, and sometimes we drive each other nuts. But these trips became essential to us. We had intense experiences sharing stories with the other detainees and all the strangers that came into our lives during this time. He was ultimately deported and now lives in London. My brother was detained in the same year when UUs were mobilizing to head to Arizona for the 2012 Justice General Assembly, focused on immigration issues and human rights. In that same year, the youth I worked with at the time began taking an interest in immigration issues through meeting with neighboring youth who were dreamers. Dreamers are undocumented students hoping to attain college degrees around the country. That year was a learning year for all of us as we decided to raise $10,000 to take 15 members of our youth group to GA. It's a year that stays in my mind in terms of the energy of the youth who squeezed every drop of learning they could about injustices linked to immigration. In one particular moment at the 2012 GA, the youth and I went to an interfaith witness for human rights, which was a candlelight vigil at Tent City Jail. Tent City Jail was founded by Sheriff Joe Arpaio and sounds exactly like what it was, tents set up in the sweltering heat of the desert to detain people in. That night, the youth and I got off a school bus near a large detention center. It was a large, sprawling building where some of the undocumented people were being kept until being moved to the tents. As we joined the other UUs holding vigil, people began singing. One youth whispered she was scared, as we were surrounded by police on horseback holding large rifles, and we could see the sheriff amongst them. One of the other youth in our group took a big risk being present in the march with us because he was at the time undocumented as well. Holding hands, we sang so many hymns that night in both English and Spanish. No one was worried about their singing voices or even if they knew Spanish well. We sang standing Side of Love, This Little Light of Mine, Guide My Feet, There's a River, There's More Love Somewhere, and the list goes on and on. When we began singing Spirit of Life, first in Spanish, then in English, we saw something incredibly moving happen. A hand popped up and started waving through a narrow window. Then another pair of hands popped up and started waving through the windows of the detention center. UU started whispering, they can hear us, and the singing got louder and louder. More and more hands started waving through the windows as the singing became thunderous. And all I could think of were my brother's hands waving back at me. That night, through all the fear, anger, and grief, we also experienced a holy kind of joy. Not a surface-level happiness, but the joy of connection of voices rising in witness and in song. A joy that said, you are not forgotten. A joy that moved through the metal bars and the heat waves, reminding us that solidarity is itself a spiritual act. That night, our faith sang back to us. It was also the night I felt my call to ministry and began my application to Harvard Divinity School. I didn't have the courage to say I'm a UU Muslim openly, not until much later after that experience. I had been conflicted about my desire to be part of two religions and two communities. Brings up a lot of questions for me, particularly about being in community. What does it mean to be part of a faith community? Can I be both, or do I have to pick one? Well, at another GA, you could tell I like GAs, I realized I could be both. My friend Ranwa Hamami came up to me and said, guess what we've been doing while you've been away? They proceeded to tell me they've been organizing UU Muslims. We now have a Facebook group and also a WhatsApp group. Thanks in part to their proposal, we had a prayer space at the 2016 GA and the ones following it. It was mind-blowing for me to be going from one emotionally engaging UU worship service, then 2 hours later, praying and breaking fast with a group of devoted UU Muslims. I'm grateful I have safe space to express myself within a community of multi-faith UU friends. And today we have a handful of UU Muslim ministers, including Reverend Ranwa Hamami. Earlier, we heard from Reverend Abi Janamanji in our reading. In writing about why he is a UU Hindu minister, he also shares in the article titled Faith in the Borderland. As a minister, I share my own religious journey, not because it is more important than anyone else's, but because it is part of building and sustaining relationships. I consider myself a UU Hindu flavored by the Islamic heritage of my father, Buddhist spiritual practice, and the study and exploration of other world traditions. A 2009 Pew Research Center poll titled Many Americans Mix Multiple Faiths found that Americans are increasingly blending their UU religious beliefs with more than one religion. Entering interfaith marriages or relationships and attending worship services of more than one faith community, because now we can connect digitally. It also found interfaith marriages and families are on the rise, and that trend is only going up. So following in Reverend Janamanji's steps, I share my story here today because it's part of building and sustaining relationships, to give voice to people who identify as multi-faith and those in interfaith families. While UUs are eager to build community outside of their UU congregations with interfaith partners, people holding multi-faith identities within Unitarian Universalism, such as UU Muslims, UU Hindus, UU Jews, UU Buddhists, UU pagans, UU atheists and humanists, and UU Christians can be overlooked. So I ask you, how could engaging people who identify as multi-faith and interfaith in this congregation help us to understand what it means to be a Unitarian Universalist today? Could it help us be more powerful allies for our neighbors? Reverend Susan Ritchie, a UU theologian, has traced influences of Islam on Unitarianism in the Edict of Torda in the book titled Children of the Same God. Her colleague, Reverend Dr. Rebecca Ann Parker, another UU minister, reflects on Ritchie's groundbreaking work by saying, especially illuminating is the revelation that Unitarians are children of Islam as well as of Christianity and Judaism. Parker goes on to say, I have learned from Ritchie that you can find Muslim prayer rugs in Unitarian churches in Eastern Europe. It is pertinent for us to start thinking of how to create and sustain welcoming spaces for people identifying as multi-faith, or those just seeking pluralism, because many, many more people will be coming to our community in the next few years searching for answers or refuge. Could we make space for those amongst us who are UU Christians and in the same breath hold space for the UU humanists and atheists as well? Imagine how our spaces and communities could look in the future as we expand to welcome the multi-faith. Some churches could have Muslim prayer rugs, and there are some that do already. There are already readings in our great hymnal on Islam and hymns written by Muslims. There is joy in preparing spaces that delight in differences. There's joy in the shared rituals, the bilingual hymn sings, the awkward but beloved potlucks where no one knows if the samosas are spicy or not. Joy arrives when someone realizes, maybe for the first time, I belong here and so does my whole family. And when that joy ripples out, it's contagious. Ritchie states in her book, yet what Unitarian Universalism has always understood, even if cultural values have sometimes kept it from acting on that understanding, is that religion is not a container, but a matrix of relationships. Religion is not a single thing, nor is it even the same. It is not a substance, it is an action. And if religion is a relationship, then it is inherently multi-religious. That's part of why I love my role as your regional contact. When I meet with congregations across the region, I see how our diversity of stories, theologies, and practices make us stronger. Some congregations are exploring new partnerships in their local interfaith networks. Some are rediscovering the joy of multi-generational learning. Others are building courageous conversations about immigration, race, climate, or democracy. And all of that connects back to this sermon, being both rooted in your spiritual home and connected to the wider world, both honoring your traditions and making room for what is emerging. So let me leave you with both a blessing and a reminder. The blessing that you may continue to find joy in welcoming the whole of who people are in this congregation and in your own lives. Joy that ripples outward, joy that waves back at us from unexpected places. And the reminder that you are not alone. You are part of a network of congregations walking together in covenant. In the next coming year, we're going to be gathering people from multiple programs, and we have 2 upcoming conferences, Beyond the Binary and Mosaic Virtual Conference in May. These resources are for you, and I'm here to help you connect to them. This is the work of being both a small, beloved community here in Maryland and part of something larger that sustains and strengthens us all. May it be so. Join me as you're able in singing hymn 131 in the Gray Hymnal, Love Will Guide Us.
We're a well-oiled machine, you can see.
Oops. All right. These closing words are by Reverend Bill Sinkford, a former UUA president. Spirit of life and love, great mystery at the heart of things. These days when our confidence in easy progress has been shaken, when our vision a beloved community seems clouded in an uncertain future. Be with us and help us be with one another. Let us be clear in our commitment to welcome the human spirit in each of us as all that we are. Move in our hearts and help our lives take the shape of justice. Move in our hands so that our actions point us towards beloved community. Move within us and among us. Let our voices sing your song as we witness with our lives that the power of love is stronger than the love of power. Let our voices sing your song as we answer the call of love. May it be so. Go in peace, beloveds, holding on to the much-needed call of Unitarian Universalism for our hurting world.
Thank you so much. And the chalice extinguishing words are in your program. This chalice is extinguished, but its light lives on.